Welcome to Channel AMEC, your insight to the Australian visa system. Good day, my name is Carl Young, your migration consultant on YouTube today. Now, in this video, I'll take you to the insight of how Northern Territory will actually sponsor and nominate you under the subclass 491. Now, this video is within the series of whole 491 regional skill work visa series. Now today is going to Northern Territory. Now if you do not know about 491 visa, it has become and it will become the major use general skill migration visa category, whereby the Australia as a nation is pushing predominantly most of the migrants into regional area where they have defined called designated regional area. Now Northern Territory, the whole territory is within that defined regional postcodes, even with the capital city Darwin. So and that's where predominantly most of the university and TAFE and school and institutions are there too. So if you haven't been to Darwin or Northern Territory, it's quite a beautiful place to visit, and let's find out how the territory will nominate you and their criteria and requirements. So if you go to Google and you type in NT space 491, you should land a page to here, as you can see. Now in this video, I will take you step by step how you could utilize the website and the information and how to lodge it. But if you do require a deeper consultation or services, help yourself to find a registered migration agent or a migration consultant in assist on your application there. Now this page we go on one by one. So basically we'll see here that Northern Territory, under right down here you can see that the Northern Territory government has already accepted to start accepting 491 visas, but it's interestingly where they also say they're currently under maintenance. But anyway, if you do have issues, you can always email them. Now they do have this link, say online application system, where I can show you. It's very I can say it's very user friendly because they also accept Facebook logging as well, but I do strongly recommend just use your private email. It's much better because you don't want to let all the people on Facebook knowing that you are lodging a possibly knowing that you're lodging an application with Northern Territory. So it's more for privacy purpose. Anyway, if you do love Facebook and use Facebook logging, help yourself. Okay, let's move on down here. Basically the website explains that you have to go through Australian government immigration's requirement, and then you go meet with the state or territory requirement. And what you need to know is that once you've been nominated by Northern Territory, they want you to stay there and work there, so you need to commit to there. They even want you to write a statement why you're choosing Northern Territory and how it will benefit the state and how it will benefit your future as well. So that's all required to include it as a criteria, where we're going to go through with the checklist later. Now by applying, see here, you need to provide all the support document where we're going to go through the checklist, and obviously the government is not responsible for your job and for your future, blah blah blah, so they just want to protect themselves. But anyway, it's a statement that the government requires, so they don't want any future migrant to suit the state in the coming years. But I think Northern Territory does know that they are limited in resources of job guarantee and things like that. So people want to go there, make sure you do a deep research. Okay, who grants your visa? Obviously not the state, but the Home Affairs Office, and this is within the general skill migration, as we have spoke and discussed previously. And what is 491 visa? Now you can read this, but the easier way is 491 visa is a temporary regional skilled work visa, where they're giving you once you've been approved by nominated states, you're eligible for 5-year visas. Now that within that 5-year visas, you get to grant a provisional Medicare, so you get a lot of rights that a permanent residency may have. And also within that 5 years, if you could complete 3 years of annual wage of above $53,900 with the tax refund and statements. You will be able to transfer yourself to subclass 191, a permanent residency visa, right after the date of the 16th of November 2022. Okay, so basically, in other words, once you got 491, all you need to do is commit yourself, get a work, and 3 years of work. After that, you get your permanent residency. Okay, so that's what it says. Now, we're not going to go through 190 detail, as this video is more towards 491. So the process is quite easy. So Northern Territory, unlike Western Australia and Queensland, where once you put your EOI on a skill select system, they will invite you to apply for their state applications. Now, Northern Territory does require you to put an EOI. Obviously, you need to tick Northern Territory, and you have to manually go into their portal and submit an application itself with the reference to your EOI number. So they won't come and invite you, and you need to do that straight away. So it's more like what they do down in South Australia. Okay, now once nomination is successful, you'll be invited, and then you head back to skill select system, click next, and you go into email account and start lodging your visa. Okay, so that's how it will work. Now, in the following pages, we will go through the following 3 links. So let's jump into the how to apply for an NT nomination. Now, basically, that is repeating of what I just said. Now, the requirement here, detail, obviously you need to have a color copy of your skill assessment, your CV or resume, and color copy of qualification, your transcripts, color copy of your ID, passport, and all your dependent family. That includes spouse and your kids, evidence of your visa if you're in Australia already, and also evidence of English, so that's IELTS, PTE or TOEFL, Cambridge test, whatever the one that you are have been taken with a report. And if you're claiming your partner's skill or partner's English, make sure you have those documentations in a color scan copy as well. And then down here is what I have just said. You need to write a statement and how you were committed in living and working in Northern Territory, and why you choosing Northern Territory, and how you believe that in the future that you can get a jobs and things, and how the employability is likely in Northern Territory for yourself. You need to write this. Doesn't have to be long, so no longer than 2 pages, as this has stated. Additional documents. So if you're living in Northern Territory, obviously you need to prove that you're living in Northern Territory with bank statement, possibly driver license, and all the other utility bills showing that your address is already in Northern Territory. And if you have been employed, obviously pay slips and other tax documentations. Now, if you're living outside of Australia, meaning that you're overseas offshores, and you're looking to get a Northern Territory nominations, and then what this bulky stuff basically says is that you need to do your research right, and you need to get a letter of employment, an offer of employment from Northern Territory government, and also provide not Northern government, Northern Territory employer, not government, I'm sorry, correcting that now. And also need to provide evidence of your fund that you're ready to settle in Northern Territory. So if you only yourself, you need to provide 35,000 Australian dollars. You and your spouse, 50,000. With 1 kid, 60,000. 2 kids, 65,000. So it's much more than what is required for Victoria. So they want you to bring more money to Northern Territory. So if you got 3 child, I presume you'll stay with 65,000. Okay. Now, moving on into the legibility. Now, this is a repeating of what we have just discussed. Now, age has to be under 45. You need to get skill assessment. English, we have talked about that already. You got a point test. If you're living in Australia, that's repeating. Outside Australia, and your commitment to the NT and occupation, you need to be. We will talk about occupation later on. Employability and financial capacities that we have just followed on with. So anyway, if you do want to get into this page, you can't find it, leave a comment below. I can send you the link directly. Now let's go into the occupation list. It's very interesting that the Northern Territory does provide their own skill occupation list that they prefer. We'll go in there very soon, but I want to take you into attention on this one is where they says you may still apply for anti-government nomination if your occupation is not on the anti-migration occupation list. Wow, what does that mean? That means any occupation should be there as long as the occupation is in the Department of Home Affairs combined current list. That's everything, mostly, apart from a lot of low-ended jobs. And the occupation is identified eligible for 491 or 190. That's basically everything. Okay, so how would that work? Is Northern Territory will likely to pick an applicant who is already in their occupation list in compared to an applicant who has the occupation not in the list. So if for instance we had 100 applicants and these hundreds are all not in the Northern Territory occupation list, then they will still assess them, they will still take them. But if they are 10 out of this 100 they are in the Northern Territory occupation list, and then they will pick those 10 first. They will have their priorities. So what's in the Northern Territory occupation list? Let's take a look. Now I'm not going to go too detailed, go one by one, but what I want to do is to show you where to go and where to find this list. So they put into 3 sections. So from A to Z, they put in the alphabetic order. So they got accountant, accommodation manager, pilots, architect, draftsperson. They don't have architect. It's interesting, but they do want draftsperson. I don't know why, but anyway, cattle farmer, cabinet maker, carpenter, chef, construction project manager, counselor, dentist. Now dentist you can only do 491. Interesting. They don't want to give them permanent residency straight away. They might relocate after they get the PR, so they want them to stay there. Okay. Education manager, electricians, engineer, professional engineer manager, family support fitter, and then we move on to G to O, gas fitters, hairdresser, ICT specialist, ICT test engineer, interpreter, mechanical engineer, midwife, mine deputy, and the optometrist. Okay, and let's move on to P to Z, pediatricians, panel beater, pastry worker, petroleum engineer, quality assurance manager, recruitment consultant, and all the registered nurses, sales and marketing managers, small solicitors, sonographer, student counselor, swim coach. Interesting, swim coach is in there, surveyor, system analysis, TESOL, that's a teacher of English, and translator, valuer, and we move on to welder and youth workers. So that's basically a very short introductory of the 491 Northern Territory chapter. So if you do consider yourself with the interest to go and migrate to Northern Territory, and this video I think will be very, very helpful for you, and go in and navigate through how you're gonna get it. So in a way to do so, you can be offshore, or perhaps you would choose to come and study abroad in Darwin and become a graduate in Northern Territory and continue to stay there. Anyway, if you do have further question or comment, help yourself to leave a comment down below. I'll be happy to facilitate and help and answer and reply. And if you do consider like the video here, consider to subscribe to our YouTube channel, and I'll see you for the next video. Goodbye.